Okay, now I want to talk about this is a pseudo-scientific discussion, because the scientific method has been fine-tuned, and the way I look at it through history, there are people who do without knowing. Like, if you look at the concepts of martial arts, to talk about knowing without knowing. And this is something that I know to be true, where I've experienced myself doing things where I do them like I know them, but once I start to think about what I just done, I'm like, I don't actually know this. So there were, in history, prehistory, people used to do stuff like they know it, but they never really knew it in a scientific way. Like people who start painting and they become really good at it. Yeah, people who start sculpting and become really good at it. And people start building and become really good at it without knowing any mathematics, knowing how to balance equations, knowing about the maths behind the pulley system, but they still use pulleys, from just intuition. Yeah, from intuition we developed science. The observer who saw us intuitively constructing decided to actually develop equations from our activity, and this is how science was born. The Greeks were the first people to write down what the Egyptians were doing, but Egyptians were doing it intuitively. They were so good at doing it that they never considered the mathematical limitations of what they were doing. Now, there's something to not considering what you know, yeah? Because as soon as you stop knowing something, then all the possibilities can occur. If you didn't know if you didn't appreciate what 100 kilograms is, yeah, it doesn't matter how small you are, you'll be able to lift that. So if you don't appreciate weight, yeah, how much weight something is, you could find yourself lifting all kinds of amazing weights. So anyway, back to the topic of this discussion, which is about heat. Yeah, now I'll be using the science method in a pseudo way. I'm not really, all my talks I haven't opened up in a textbook. I'm from an a technology engineering background, science, technology and engineering, but I don't think it would be responsible of me to talk about things at that depth of a level. Yeah, because obviously the layman's also got to understand. So the way I discuss things is more artistic. It's not purely academic, where I refer to publications in journals and respected and accredited and approved and peer-reviewed journals. I don't refer to any academic text. I keep it artistic so that the layman can also understand, but conceptually it's true, but I don't get down to the mechanics and equations of it. So now I discuss heat from a philosophical point of view. And yes, I've studied thermodynamics, rudimentary thermodynamics, in my encounters out there in the academic world. So I know the concept of thermodynamics. Is it 3 laws of thermodynamics? I know entropy. I know energy can't be created or destroyed. I know that, but I'm not gonna go into it that deep. I want everybody to understand. So I look at things conceptually. When you want everyone to understand, you consider the concept and the philosophy and the intuition, but you don't consider the mathematical formulation, because mathematical formulation is like looking at a 3D square. Sometimes you can, when you look at it long enough, it can appear to be pointing the other way. When you look at it again, it can be pointing that way. So you can develop equations to prove that it's pointing that way, and you can develop equations to prove that it's pointing that way. So writing down equations limits you to only seeing things one way. So that's why I've approached things intuitively and conceptually. Now back to heat. My suggestion, hypothesis, postulation, I don't know, most scientists really are saying this, but they don't actually point it out. It's like seeing water rise in a bath. When you get into it, you're seeing it, but you haven't pointed it out. So do you actually know it? Do you take it for granted? Yeah, have you never stopped to realize what that means? So anyway, so what I suggest is that heat does not exist. Yeah, heat does not exist because heat is basically infrared radiation, microwave, or radio waves. Yeah, heat is just is just that lower end of the spectrum of light. And since light is considered to be a particle, yeah, heat doesn't exist. They're just particles, yeah, particles of light. What is heat then? Heat is an emergent attribute of nature. It emerges from consciousness. Yeah, your mind makes it up. The reason it makes up heat is because it's a way of warning you that something detrimental is going to happen to your physical structure. When you touch a hot stove, yeah, you start to burn your fingernails, yeah, and this will require healing. So your mind came up with the concept of pain, and it's from pain that heat emerges. If there was no pain, there would be no need to define heat. There's people who can't feel pain. I guarantee you, most of them, their level, they can't feel heat. If you can't feel pain, you can't feel heat, because heat comes from your mind's approximation, yeah, relating to pain. Yeah, heat does not exist in nature. It emerges from your consciousness. Yeah.